All right. I'm with Sage Gallon. Let's talk about your show. Let's talk about art. Let's talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about because I love you.
I love you.
And I feel like I don't know when I'm going to see you again. So
Tomorrow.
I know tomorrow when we get the art. But I mean, like when we're going to kick it again. You get your travel on Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona's tomorrow. And I'll be there decompressing and hanging out with my godson and my family for a couple of weeks. Then I come back up to LA and fly out to New York on the 31st, where we're doing a fundraiser for my mom's foundation.
Talk about the foundation.
The Lorraine R. Braxton Transformation Scholarship. My mom died last year, January 23rd, 2019. And, we went in on a Monday for a really basic procedure, a blood transfusion, and then it escalated from one thing to the next. And, she had the infection, a reaction to the blood transfusion on Monday. And so she had to be admitted into the hospital. Tuesday, I come back, and because of her immune system was so low, she had to be in a sterile clean room. And by Wednesday at 4 a.m., the hospital calls me, and I was for some reason wide awake. And they told me that my mom had a cardiac arrest. And her heart stopped for a minute or two, but they resuscitated her, and they moved her to the ICU, and I got there in like 30 minutes. Now this is like an hour and a half drive or whatever, but I got there in 30 minutes. So, and thank God it was 4 a.m. because I was speeding all the way there. And by the time I got there, my mom had tubes and stuff down in the respirator and whatnot. And she always hated the idea of being on tubes and ventilators, so she was uncomfortable. But it was weird because I didn't understand the gravity of the situation. So I'm thinking, she had a heart attack. They had to put the tubes in. Hold on, fire truck's going. They had to put the tubes in just to, help her out a bit. And, in an hour or so, they'll take her out. She's stable.
She'll be fine.
She'll be fine. Like, that's my whole thing. She's going to be fine. Because she was very cognizant. She was very aware and awake. And by 11 o'clock, I was telling the doctors, I was like, you guys need to give my mother a sedative. Because they were trying to tie her hands down. She kept trying to take the things out. And I'm like, Mommy, you can't do that. And it was so bizarre to me because, I was standing over her, right? And she had the tubes in her throat and whatnot. And then the ventilator thing, the machine was behind me. And my mother kept looking up, but not at me. And she kept looking back at the machines as if to say, and obviously she can't speak, but her language was turn that off. And I'm like, girl, we're not even there yet. I'm like, what are you talking about?
We're not there yet.
we're not there yet. Chill, relax. So 11 o'clock, I told them to give her a sedative. They gave her a sedative, and she fell asleep. And she was peaceful. I made my little cot and whatnot. I'm watching movies I brought my laptop. I'm watching movies and whatnot. And I guess around 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the doctor number 2 came in and told me that there was a bacteria in her bloodstream. And I'm like, how did it get there? And they're like, I don't know. And then we're like, what are you doing? And they're like, we're giving her antibodies. So I'm still thinking, okay, problem, solution. We're good. And by 6:30 or 6:45, doctor number 3 came in, and he was like, Mr. Gallon, your mother's in critical condition. I'm like, and I'm like, really?
How did we get here?
We're ICU, and she has tubes on the throat. I was like, obviously we're in critical condition, sweetie. I was like, well, what are you trying to say, doctor? Facetiously, almost arrogantly, I'm saying this. What are you trying to say? Are you trying to tell me my mother's going to die? And he said she can go at any minute.
Whoa.
And I kind of just I didn't lose my shit in front of him. I went out in the hallway and just lost it. Collapsed on the ground, snot running out my nose, lost it. And, because I'm like, well, how did we get here? Where did this come from? But so I made the phone calls to my family members and let everybody know and my friends, and and I went back in to be with her, and they almost didn't let me in. I had to sneak in because and I get the protocol. You don't want your family members trying to mess up the flow when they're trying to do their thing and trying to resuscitate or save someone's life. But I understood the circumstance at this point, and so I kind of just stayed in the cut, and it was like a movie, like the doctor's running and stat and hello, the whole ER kind of experience. And the doctor came back out and he said, Mr. Gallen, your mom's gone. And I was like,
shit.
Okay. And it was almost in a shock and disbelief, and I'm grateful that I got to be there. But before they started their whole process, I got to talk to my mother. I got to say, I got to thank her, and I got to thank God for her, and I gave her a kiss on the forehead. This is where I always kiss my mom on her forehead, and I was able to say goodbye and I love you. And the most important thing to me was that my mother was not alone when she died.
Yeah.
She knew, even in her unconsciousness, she knew that I was with her. And in spite of all of the fights and skirmishes that we had, there was nothing but love there, and I'm grateful that I had that opportunity. So anyway, I say all that to say that, Mommy didn't want to be, she didn't want a funeral. She wanted to be cremated. She wanted to donate her body to science. She wanted to turn her hair into a wig and give it to cancer people. So, we were able to cremate her. We weren't able to donate her body to science because there was so much stuff involved with that. We cut her hair at the funeral parlor, and we were going to make a wig, but apparently the person still has to be alive before you cut the hair. So I ended up keeping it, which I'm grateful for because, I miss her every day, and I could just open this little box in my apartment that contains her hair and just hug it and smell it, and that's my mother is right there because her scent is so pleasant. And we did cremate her, and we had kind of a tribute to her as a family, and I felt good about that. But to honor my mom, what I wanted to do was do something that I felt important, and so I created the Lorraine R. Braxton Transformation Scholarship, right? And
it is the second year, right?
This is the second year, the third installation.
Okay.
And because last year, March, we did the first installation, the first presentation. So the Lorraine R. Braxton Transformation Scholarship is really simple. I have young ladies of color between the ages of 12 and 35 write me a letter and email it to me. Just a basic, simple letter. The only things I want to know in this letter are, one, who are you? A little bit about your bio. And that, what are some of the obstacles that you faced or are facing? Two, what have you done to overcome those obstacles? Three, which is kind of super important to me, what are you doing to help others? Because, we sometimes get so consumed in our own shit that we push other people. I'm in my own shit right now, and I'm like, that's not what this is about, and that's not who my mother was. My mother, in spite of her own shit, she would still help people. It's just kind of where I got that from, myself. And 4 is, what are your dreams, goals, and aspirations? 5 is, what are you actively doing to work towards them? And I don't care if the dream is I want to recycle cans.
What are you doing?
How about it? What are you doing to make that happen? I want to be a snail racer. I know snails race, but girl, what are you doing? Whatever those dreams are, there's no dream too little, there's no dream too big. But the important thing is, what are you actively doing to work towards them? Because, living in Hollywood, I want to be an actor. Well, have you auditioned? No. Are you studying? No. Are you reading any acting books? No. You don't want to be actor, boo-boo.
Right.
You want to say you're an actor, but you're not. So that's important to me. And last year in March, we had the first one, and we I had two young ladies that received the first inaugural awards. One got the first prize winner got $1,000, and
Wow.
the second one got because I didn't want anyone feeling like a loser. Like I don't want anyone ever to feel like they lost something. So the second person received a $300 cash award.
Okay.
They both received a piece of my artwork and a piece of my mother's jewelry. And after we did that in March, I started really thinking about it. Like, why am I doing this in March? Like, my mother's birthday is January 9th. So I was like, okay, we're gonna do this on January 9th.
Okay.
And somebody helped me rate, or somebody started a GoFundMe page or something. Somehow it happened, whether it was a GoFundMe page, and we raised some money, and I contributed a lot of it. Not a lot of it, but some money. And for the 2020 iteration of the Lorraine R. Braxton Transformation Scholarship, we were able to give 4 young ladies cash awards.
Oh, good.
So it ranged from 1,000 to a couple hundred, a few hundred, or whatever. And they all got a piece of my mother's jewelry and a piece of my artwork. So I'm going to New York to do a fundraiser on September 12th. At the Indian Farms restaurant on 218th Street. And I'm hoping to raise at least $5,000 for next year, where I want to select 5 young ladies and give them each $1,000 in cash.
I love it.
A piece of my mother's jewelry and a piece of my artwork. And what I want to do with this, what I hope to do with this, and this is one of a couple of outreach or nonprofit organizations that I have in my head. I want this to be global, and I want to help a lot of people. I want us to be able to establish foundations or centers for, women who have been trafficked or on drugs or single parents or, working in the sex industry who are trying to transition out of that existence or that lifestyle. I want us to create safe places for women where if they're in an abusive relationship, they can go to. So I want to create kind of centers, the Lorraine R. Braxton Transfer Center. And in that you'll have education, health, food kind of stuff. So, and I see that globally. The other dream that I have, which is a huge thing, and I really pray I could do this before I die, but the acronym is called AND, A-N-D, and it stands for a needed dream. And what AND is a foundation, and I haven't implemented it yet, but this is the premise of it. Is using art. Like, so you have different.
Is that my mask?
No,
We have the same mask. Okay.
Okay.
No, the black one.
Oh.
That mine is down there. Sorry.
Oh.
I'm talking the one in your hand.
Oh, okay. No, I think this is mine.
Okay. Yeah, it is because mine is down there.
Okay. So AND is going to be a program founded in art. All right. So we'll take every genre of art, from sculpture to filmmaking. But like, we'll take sculpture for instance, and this will apply for every class, all of them. All right. So there are 3 tiers in AND. The first tier is history. So what we'll do is we'll go from ancient African civilizations to contemporary. Look at the kingdom, tribe, whatever, that created this statue, and we'll talk about why it was important to it, what was the cultural or political or artistic significance of this for these people. And we'll do that from ancient African to contemporary, like I said. And tier 2 is going to be creation. So you'll take the statues that from the Maasai, and you'll look at that and understand what made this important for them and do your own interpretation. What that will do is create a body of work for these kids, which will lead to tier 3, production and manufacturing, understanding your money. Because what all the kids will do, like, I'll say the sculpture kids, the painter kids, the pottery kids, the visual artist kids will all come together in a group, and they'll be in charge of finding a venue, a gallery, a space to do a show. They'll be in charge of promoting the show. They'll be in charge of publicizing the show and creating this gallery on their own. And so at the end of the season, you'll have this huge and gallery extravaganza, and then the theater kids and the music kids will come together and they'll do individual short films, and so then that'll be part of the festival. And so what'll happen is, and the kids, those kids are in charge of selling tickets and getting people in the seats and whatnot, finding sponsors, all of the stuff. And
what's the age range?
I'm looking between 7 and
Oh,
high
good.
school.
Like, okay, yeah.
From
Yeah.
because what's first grade? 8, 7,
You're 5 years over your grade, so if first grade would be 6.
6, 6 and up to high school. So I'll get into, because that's going to be important too. And so these kids are going to be in charge of this extravaganza gala affair, right? So, Shaquan sells 6 of her statues. So Shaquan gets half cash in her pocket, but the other half of the sales will go into a secured account until she's 18 years old, where she could either use it for college, trade school, or whatever the fuck she wants to use it for. You know? A super important part of this is going to be the community, because say Shaquan's mom is a recovering addict or an addict, right? And Shaquan's mom has low self-esteem and or health issues or mental health issues. What we want to do is talk to Shaquan's mom and say, hey, would you be interested in making $10 an hour chaperoning the Action Kids, because they need to go to Beverly Hills to observe a certain way of living. Why are they going to Beverly Hills? They're from the hood. Well, because most people in the hood stay in the hood, and they don't know that there is a Beverly Hills or any other place outside of their 4-block radius. So a part of this is going to be encouraging these kids to see new things, to see, you have to go to MoMA, you have to go to Getty, you have to go to the Broad Museum for this assignment. And what's her name? Shaquan's mom, who's pretty much given up in a way, now becomes involved. So, it's the 3rd Saturday of the month. So guys, we're going to Shaquan's house, neighborhood, and we're going to clean up this whole street. And you art kids, y'all are going to be in charge of painting daisies on the curb. All right? And we'll have those kind of activities where the kids will be able to earn points. All right? So it'll be like a point system that we'll talk about later. So, another part of this, and why I want school-aged kids, is because I'm sure there's a way, like what I want to do ideally is bring the high school kids, or good graded kids, into the mix. So your son is brilliant. He is, a 4-point GPA. He's, athlete. So we'll have him come in to and after school as kind of a before the session. So what we're going to do is work closely with the elementary schools in the schools. So if Jeremy is a failing student, he's absentee. All right, Jeremy, this is a point system we're going to have here. I need you to go from an F to a D this term. And your son will be the one kind of mentoring him and challenging him or teaching him how to read and letting him know that his dyslexia is not a problem, that doesn't make him stupid, And in turn, these high school kids will get college credits I don't know how that's going to work, but I'm going to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
But so that when they enter college, now they're ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm.
They already got some credits, and based on their activities with these young kids. So Jeremy has to go from a D. And next season, Jeremy, let's say D plus.
Okay.
I don't need you to go to A.
Right. D
But,
plus.
you cut class 25 times last week. Let's cut
14.
down 15.
Right.
I'll give you 15. And the next semester 10.
Right.
Because these kids are.
I'm not saying don't cut class.
Yeah, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just
Right.
saying, you want that point.
Do it 10 times less.
Because at the end of the season, the point system will be accumulated, and they'll get scholarships in addition to the monies that they've made on their own, that they've earned on their own.
I love it.
So that's my biggest dream. That's the thing I hope to accomplish most in my life before I die.
I love it. Thank you so much.
And what I want to do with that is, we'll start in California. We'll have New York, Chicago, Baltimore, Maryland.
Yeah.
Florida, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Europe, South Africa,
What's up?
all of it. So the Super Bowl of this will be in this huge auditorium where we have tables with computers and live streaming around the world. So the Brazilian kids could show the American.
What are you thinking about? What's triggering you right now?
What this happened so bad because we knew this. Fuck. We need to come together. We need to be collective. We need to understand that we're not different. We need to really do what the internet was supposed to do, which is bring us together. And we need to love each other. And that's what I want this program to do. I want these little kids who never go outside of that 4-block radius to see like, oh shit, Brazil kids.
Right.
Maybe I'll go to Brazil. Like, dream bigger than the limitations, the chains that were artificially enforced around these kids' necks. To have these kids believe that they're nothing but niggas and hoes. That lie. I want that lie disbanded. I want that lie eliminated. God, fuck, I don't know where that came from, but God, I just wish I pray that I could do this before I die.
Yeah.
Or that some fucking body does who knows who's smarter than I am and who knows how to do shit like this. But
You'll do it.
And have like board of directors like the Jay-Z's and Beyonce's on the board, and Susan Rice's and Kamala Harris's on the board, and the Obamas and the Oprahs, and just even the Ben Carsons. I'll take
the Obamas need some of your work. Oh my God.
I guess everyone needs some of my work.
Everyone does. Everyone needs your work. You hear that, Michelle Obama?
Wow, that just got me really emotional because it's the core of everything. It's the core of the Lorraine R. Braxton transformation. It's about love.
Yeah.
And if COVID has taught us nothing, it's taught us that. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Thank you. How are you? That we've been so greedy in our emotions, in our methods, in our monies, in our methods of getting those monies. We've been so greedy that there's compassion and empathy don't cost you shit. They make you richer, but they don't take anything away. And people may take advantage of your compassion and empathy, but that's not you. That's their deficit, not yours.
Yeah.
So why are we so stingy with our shit?
And greedy, like we're never gonna get another. It's funny. I've been having this conversation, and keeps coming up. Like I'm trying to elevate my conversation around money. You know what I mean? Like I was telling a friend today. Like I'm tired of celebrating the fact that I paid rent on the first on time. You know what I mean? Like I always gonna be thankful for that shit, but not celebrate it like that's some freak occurrence. Like, hey girl, I paid my rent on time. I bitch didn't get a 3-day pay or quit notice this month. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, and so I listen to people and I talk to people who have money, and I listen to podcasts. I listen to Michelle Obama's podcast. I listen to Oprah's podcast. Like, these people are talking about money in a way that, like, everybody's talking about money, but what are they saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Michelle and Gail are not slapping five because their cable is on this month. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? They're not doing that.
Girl, I got the good milk this week. I get the brown eggs, girl. I get the brown eggs. Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, and there are certain things that, like, I'm thankful that I have functioning limbs, and, you know, I, you know, peeing on myself, you know, but at the end of the month, I'm not thankful for that. I mean, I don't celebrate that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because no, of course, I don't, at the end of the month, I'm not like, hey, I didn't pee on myself this month, because I don't pee on myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I want that. I don't know if I'm making sense, but
no, I understand.
you know what I mean?
But it's again those chains, the shackles that were kind of. How did this shackle? You know what's crazy?
The sun is like so. The sun is dope as fuck. Dope as fuck.
Yeah. And what's crazy is you don't even know how that shackles got here. You mean like, what is that clink clink?
But what is that clink
What is
clink?
that clink
But you know
clink?
what? The clink clink has always fucking been.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know a life without the clink clink.
It's the music.
We don't know.
We just dancing the wrong goddamn soundtrack.
Yeah.
That's not our music. It's not our song.
Yeah, this sun, this is so. Every time it's just
The
love.
silhouette of the trees. I'm gonna smoke cigarette while you talk. I have
I
no
don't care. Yeah. This is so dope to me. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this off, but that's been Sage Gellin, and he
Hi.
is one of my, if not my favorite artists, certainly one of my favorite people. So y'all look at this beautiful sunset, and you know, kick it with me.